My name is Marc Thiessen. I'm a visiting fellow with the American Enterprise Institute, and my question has to do with the unexpected. During the 2000 presidential debates, Governor George W. Bush was never asked about the threat from al-Qaeda, yet the battle with al-Qaeda dominated his presidency. What national security issue do you worry about that nobody is asking about either here or in any of the debates so far?
All right, let's go down the line and start with Senator Santorum. Give us a quick answer. What do you think?
Well, I've spent a lot of time and concern, and Rick mentioned this earlier, about what's going on in Central and South America. I'm very concerned about the militant socialists and the radical Islamists joining together, bonding together. I'm concerned about the spread of socialism and that this administration, with time after time, whether it was the delay in moving forward on Colombia's free trade agreement, whether it was turning our back to the Hondurans and standing up for democracy and the rule of law, and we took the side with Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro for a corrupt president. We've sent all the wrong signals to Central and South America. You know, maybe the first trip I would take to Israel, but my second trip and third and fourth would be into Central and South America. We need to build a solid hemisphere, and those people and the people in south of our border need to know that we are going to be in solidarity with them and build strong alliances.
Thank you, Senator. I want to do this quickly if we can, because we don't have a lot of time. Congressman.
I worry most about overreaction on our part, getting involved in another war when we don't need to, when we haven't been attacked, and our national security has not been at threat. And I worry a lot about people never come around to understanding who the Taliban is and why they are motivated. Taliban doesn't mean they want to come here and kill us. The Taliban means they want to kill us over there because all they want to do is get people who occupy their country out of their country, just like we would if anybody tried to occupy us.
Governor Perry.
I think obviously the big issue out there, and we've talked about it before, but I happen to think it's China and how we're going to deal with China. And communist China, when I think back about Ronald Reagan, and he said that the Soviet Union was destined for the ash heap of history, and he was correct. And I happen to think that communist China is destined for the ash heap of history because they are not a country of virtues. When you have 35,000 forced abortions a day in that country, when you have the cybersecurity that the PLA has been involved with, those are great and major issues, both morally and security-wise, that we've got to deal with now.
All right, we got to keep it brief, but go ahead, Governor Romney.
Rick is, in my view, is right with regards to long-term security interest, and that's China, although that's very much on our agenda. Immediately, the most significant threat is, of course, Iran becoming nuclear. But I happen to think Senator Santorum is right with regards to the issue that doesn't get enough attention. That's the one that may come up that we haven't thought about, which is Latin America. Because, in fact, Congressman, we have been attacked. We were attacked on 9/11. There have been dozens of attacks that have been thwarted by our security forces. And we have right now Hezbollah, which is working throughout Latin America, in Venezuela, in Mexico, throughout Latin America, which poses a very significant and imminent threat to the United States of America.
Thank you, Governor. Mr. Kaine.
Having been a ballistics analyst and a computer scientist early in my career, cyber attacks, that's something that we do not talk enough about, and I happen to believe that that is a national security area that we do need to be concerned about.
Speaker Gingrich.
I helped create the Hart-Rudman Commission with President Clinton, and they came back after 3 years and said the greatest threat to the United States was a weapon of mass destruction in an American city, probably from a terrorist. That was before 9/11. That's one of the three great threats. The second is an electromagnetic pulse attack, which would literally destroy the country's capacity to function. And the third, as Herman just said, is a cyber attack. All three of those are outside the current capacity of our system to deal with.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Well, I would agree with what my colleagues said up here on the stage. And also, we need to remember, we won the peace in Iraq. And now President Obama is intentionally choosing to give that peace away. This is a significant issue because we're taking the terrorist threat away from the Middle East, bringing it to the United States. We talked about al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab is real. In my home state of Minnesota, we've just had 2 convictions of 2 women that are financing terror with al-Shabaab. This threat, I believe, now is in the United States. And now the threat has come home, and that's what we have to deal with.
Governor Huntsman?
I guess I could say China because I know a little bit about the subject matter, but they're in for real trouble ahead. So I have to say that our biggest problem is right here at home. And you can see it on every street corner. It's called joblessness. It's called lack of opportunity. It's called debt
that has become a national security problem in this country, and it's also called a trust deficit. Congress that nobody believes in anymore, an executive branch that has no leadership, institutions of power that we no longer believe in. How can we have any effective foreign policy abroad when we are so weak at home? We have no choice. We got to get on our feet here domestically.